Hey everybody, welcome to Manga Palate. This is your host, Manga Chef Isaiah.
And co-host Patricia Luna. Yay! We have finally settled on an idea, which is alternating weeks for shows. So last week was me, week before that was him. This week, once again, is up to the discretion of our good friend Manga Chef Isaiah. So Manga Chef Isaiah, tell them what you chose this week.
This week, I chose Fuuka.
I fucking love that manga. Okay. We're laughing only because Jesus Christ, there was a lot.
It
There was a
took us
lot
like,
here in the weirdest way. It's not so much for the show, but so much as what we know around the show.
yeah.
Um, right. So I want to say this: the author of Fuga is Koji Seo, and that man never fucking stops. Because oh man, I've read so many of his things, and actually some of them come into play insofar that Suzuka, the lead of the manga Suzuka, which is one of the first things he wrote, is Fuka's mother, and her dad is the other track guy that she ends up falling in love with, which they make a point of saying, you don't know Fuka's dad, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh shit, that's a point out to Suzuka. The characters from Kimi no Irumachi, which is his other manga, which is one of his other mangas, is like in the crowd watching some of the shows. Fucking at the beginning of the show, there's like a poster for Half and Half, the first thing he ever wrote. Good God, man, this is a lot. Okay, so
Jeez, he did all that.
yeah, I mean, like he has other stuff too, but hey, let's not all bring those up all at once.
Okay.
Fuka started airing January 6th, 2017, and ended airing March 24th, 2017, for a total of 12 episodes. Pretty usual of a season, as far as shows are concerned. Fuka Akitsuki was voiced by Lin, who's an actual singer. And she also does voice acting. You might know her as the lead on Monster Strike, which is a show I don't know or give a shit about. I'm sorry, that's awful. But she was also the lead on Keijo, which you and I both never got in on.
No, we have.
Uh,
No.
the male lead is Yu Haruna, voiced by Yusuke Kobayashi. He's the lead on Arslan Senki. He's Arslan. He was also on Monster Strike, and he's the lead from ReZero, which I think we only know because of Ferris.
Yeah. And we
And
hear about it a bunch.
yeah, we hear about it from a lot of different people. Koyoki Hinashi is voiced by Sayori Hayami, also does the ending theme for the sixth episode because this show does one of those things where it's like mostly the same episode ending, and then one episode, because it's special, gets a separate ending. But yeah, Sayori Hayami, she's the lead on Fukumenki Noise, which is another of those music and relationship shows, which is kind of what Fuka's all about. And you and I probably remember her best as Hakua from Kaminomi. Remember the other
Yeah.
demon girl?
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
The purple
Sarai.
hair. Well, they
Yeah.
both have purple hair.
Well, Elsie's more like black, but hey, if you're talking about Nora, where it's like lilac, you know what? Let's not get into colors. Anyway, Sara Iwami, the guitarist of the band, is voiced by Mikako Komatsu, who I have a thing for, if only because she's voiced Tsugumi, best girl on Nisekoi, the one of the little cats on Nyanko Days, the Russian Blue, and she also voiced Totsuka, the one of the few characters I can tolerate from that fucking show that I just did not care for. Remember? You
Yeah.
remember the one?
The
Fucking
one where,
Yahari Ore?
yeah, where the guy has to talk to the girls that don't like him at all.
Yeah, what a disaster. Um, Makoto Mikasa, the pianist, is voiced by Saito Soma, who was on Junisai and Haikyuu. He was also one of the many, 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 many people who voiced the lead characters in Pop Team Epic. That's because there's too many fucking people doing that show.
Was he
He's
like the manly voice? Sorry for the
one
tangent.
one of the seven man voices.
No, I mean like he did
The
the
deep
really
deep one?
tough guy.
No. He did one of the like softer, more effeminate ones, the ones that tried to sound like a girl but was clearly a man.
Okay.
Um, Yeah, you're probably more thinking of Okitsu Kazuyuki, who was voiced Kazuyonachi, the drummer for the band. I know him because he voiced the male lead on Seito Kaijo wa Okusama. Oh, no, Okusama wa Seito Kaijo. He was also the big guy with the weird earlobes on Kangaku Gakuen. Yeah. So that these are people who have worked in the industry. Some of them significantly more so than others. Like that guy, fucking Saito Sama. Like that guy must be getting money because Haikyuu has like eight seasons and there's so many spin-offs. The opening for the show was Climbers High because it was intended to be, the song from the band The Hedgehogs in the show, sung by Manami Numakura. Isaiah, do you remember that name?
No.
No? Really? Even though we talked about her like 3 weeks ago? Because she's the voice of Saya from Dagashi Kashi.
Oh, that show.
Yeah, yeah.
I stopped giving a shit about it.
I'm not surprised. Once again, fucking Manami Numakura, Hibiki from Idolmaster. And the ending theme is sung by Megumi Nakajima, who was the person who they voiced to sample. They take the voice samples to create the Vocaloids. Like it's not just the voice; it's a voice sample that they digitize. She was the prototype for Gumi, so that's a thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
pretty cool.
Yeah. Like I said, Koji Sale, man, this man never stops working, and I'm glad. I like a lot of his stuff. The only reason I couldn't finish Kimi no Irumachi is because, man, the lead guy in that show is just a monster. I hate him. Oof, he's bad. He's like the lead from School Days. Remember that guy?
Yeah.
What a fucking douche nozzle. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the top of the list. Do you want to go ahead, start? Because boy, I don't have a lot to say about the show.
Um. Okay. So the first episode is like you just moves into Tokyo, and he's at the shopping district of Tokyo, and then he's listening to his friend sing on the TV screen.
By the way, when you say he, you mean the main guy, you,
Yeah,
you
you.
hot. Yeah,
Yeah.
I felt that was worth mentioning rather than just like him.
I said you.
Okay.
Okay. Maybe. All right. Maybe I messed up. Anyway, so yeah, you was listening to his friend on the TV screen because now she's a super famous idol,
What's her name?
Koyuki.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alright, we were doing this thing earlier. We're like,
I'm
I was
just
trying to
saying.
get all the names right.
I'm really happy. It shows that you've been practicing, and I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I got the name right. Alright. So yeah, he's listening to her, and then all of a sudden, this girl from out of nowhere says, "Hey, get out the way," and he's like, "Huh?" And then next thing you know, Fuuka, the main girl of the show, is on top of him, and is like, "I told you to get out the way." And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And he had his phone in his hand when he got up. So at the angle, it looked like he was trying to take a picture of her skirt. And yeah, she calls him like a huge pervert for
Or
that.
rather, what's under her skirt. Because if you needed to take a picture of her skirt, it'd be just her standing.
Under her skirt.
Yeah. Which is way worse than just regular picture of person.
Yeah, and that happens a few times for some reason. So yeah,
In the
she.
same episode.
Yeah.
Like this one episode has like 4 or 5 of those.
So she calls him a huge pervert. Smacks him in the face, and then smashes his phone on the ground and just leaves. And she also left behind her CD. So then he goes home like late because he has to repair his phone. And you see his house and it's full of his sisters because his parents went to live in America.
Can I just say the sentence full of his sisters sounds like he has 80.
He has
He has
three,
3 sisters.
but it's more than enough.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're just like, "Oh, we found your Twitter now, so we know everything that's happening to you." And he's like, "Great, this is happening."
Can I just say, one of those sisters I recognized instantly because she was the voice of one of the girls from the Sai Kano TV show, which I love Sai Kano. So when I found that I had a show, I was like, oh shit, and I had to watch it. And that's the only reason I was like, oh hey, I know that voice. Oh, what the fuck are you doing here? Well, clearly not doing much because you're the sister who's never really gonna show up in this show.
They had like 3 scenes, I think.
Yeah, throughout the entirety that we watched, which I got to 11 before we had to do this. How far did you get in?
Like 6.
Also, worth mentioning, Saori Onishi. She is now currently in that show about the horse girls, Uma Musume Pretty Derby.
Hmm,
So yeah, still doing things.
that's good. All right. So he tells them before he has to start high school, he has to turn in his papers. So the next day he goes to help turn his papers, and the advisor, she tells him you should just check around the school, get familiar with it. So he ends up going on the rooftop of the school. He takes a picture of it because it has a really nice view. And then on the top of the roof, he sees Fuuka just standing there listening to music. And then he takes a picture of her because I don't know why, but he just does. And she hears the click, and then she gets super pissed off at him. Like, oh, the same guy, he's trying to take pictures of me again. So she tries to like show him his photos, show him his pictures to like prove that he wasn't taking pictures of her. And then he just remembered, oh, her skirt was kind of up, so it kind of looked like I'm a pervert. So he doesn't want to show it to her. And then she ends up pushing his phone off the roof, and he's like, great, now I have to get the repair phone from the ground. And she feels bad, and she helps him look for it.
So this is a point I want to make. In the anime, she seems more like a regular, straightforward tsundere, like hey, hates him, likes him, hates him, likes him, yada yada yada. Versus in the manga, it's like she just seems really reckless and weird. Like like she'll just jump to doing random shit instantly, and that's kind of what makes her so I guess what's the word? Flippy? I don't know, flamboyant. Like she just trots around and doesn't really seem to think twice about anything. Like the first time she meets him, she's like, "Oh man, fuck you! Who tried to take a picture of my skirt?" And the next time she meets him, she's like, "You know what? I misjudged you. You're a cool guy. Maybe we'll find out." Like
Yeah,
I, and then in the show, she's not like that at all. She's a lot more like hot and cold in a standard way, vis-a-vis like Sundere. But hey, go ahead.
okay. So yeah, she
I
helps him look for the phone, and they don't find it. He ends up returning her CD though, and she's like, "Wow, he's a really nice guy." Uh, the next day school starts for him, his first day of school, and surprise, surprise, Fuka's in his class. I didn't see that coming. Um, yeah, so he tries to like not acknowledge that he knows her, and then later on in the day, he sees that Fuka's getting harassed by Na- Nachi.
Nachi, you're
Yeah,
correct.
okay. So she's getting harassed by Nachi, and he's like, "Come on, join the track team. You're really good at track and athletics and stuff, but um, you can't really like hear them that well." So he thinks he's just trying to like rough her up or something. I don't know. So he tries to play hero and defends her, and then she's like, "Bro." I mean, Nachi's like, "Bro, I was just trying to get her into the track team. What's wrong with you?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And then he goes like to a corner and like melts down. And then Fuka comes over and is like, "Oh, it's okay, dude. You don't have to melt down. By the way, my name is Fuka. You don't have to keep calling me girl." And then the next day he ends up having these two tickets. Oh wait, sorry, I just skipped something. Um,
Go ahead.
oh, I guess I didn't write it down. But when he gets home, his sisters are just like they have like no clothes on. I'm sorry, they just have their underwear on, and they're
Yeah, they're
just
just kind of hanging around like that because it's hot, and he complains, and he goes, Why are you doing that?" And they go, "But it's hot." And he's like, "Sure, okay, whatever, fuck this," and he just kind of goes to his room.
yeah.
I can't say I remember that on the manga, but then again, I read the manga like ages ago, so like I don't fucking know. Maybe it did happen, and I just don't remember because it was so unimportant.
Yeah, that was really out
It's
of
just
place.
kind of a thing that happens out of nowhere.
But I just wanted to bring it up because it was like, okay. you're
It's kind
gonna.
of ridiculously out of place. Yeah, no, I
Yeah.
gotcha. Well, I mean, that's how I felt about like back in Yankoi, where like the male lady, they just kept showing her off, and I was like, "You're not even in this scene. Why? Why? For who? What's the point of this?" And
For
like they used
fans.
her for like in a bunch of bumpers. In this case, they had the one scene, but it was like really lingering.
Yeah. So he ended up getting 2 tickets to see a movie. And the lead of the opening was Koyuki, the childhood friend of his,
Mm.
and Fuuka ends up seeing it and he's like, yo, you got 2 tickets there. I really like Koyuki. You wanna make sure those second tickets don't go to waste? And he's just like, sure, whatever. So they end up going to see the movie together. But before they actually meet each other, they said to meet at is this right? Hachigo, the dog statue.
Hachiko's a famous dog statue in Shibuya because there's this dog, Hachiko. Its thing is like, well, this guy had the dog, Hachiko, and then he would always come home at like a certain time. But then the guy died, but Hachiko would always still go to see the guy as though he were still alive, like getting off work and stuff. And everyone was so impressed that the dog kept doing sick shit like that. Like, oh man, this dog really loved his master and yada yada. That when the dog died, they made a statue of the dog, and it's a very recognizable statue in that
That's
part
it.
of Japan.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I look. No, that's a real thing. Fuck you. Look, I look. Uh, uh,
I'm not
uh,
trying to make fun of it, but
for the audience, I was raised in Japan, so I know a bunch. I have a lot of dumb bullshit from being living there and stuff, and so that ends with us like him constantly going, "What's that?" and me going like, "Oh, it's this thing," and then everyone goes, "Why? Why is that a thing?" And my response is, "Look, the country's stupid sometimes. Okay, I don't know what to say." There's like stories about like there's a ghost in that rock. Don't make that rock angry. You put food in front of that rock. That's just that country. I don't know what you want me to say. I go on. Yeah, you're
anyways,
like, wait, what? Why is that a dog statue? It just, I don't know. People were like, that's cool. That's a hype ass dog. Let's make a statue.
anyways, so he's behind. Sorry. So he's behind Hachigo, and Fuko is in front of it, and they're right next to each other, but they're missing each other. Like it's very, eh, like how's that possible? But so at the same time, they get the idea like, oh, maybe they're at the opposite side of Hachigo. So he goes in front of Hachigo, and she goes behind Hachigo, and they miss each other again.
This is the best part of this, though. What does she do right after that?
So Yu gives up, and he starts heading home. And then Fuka thinks she like sees a glimpse of him, so she gets on top of the thing that people put bikes on. I'm not sure what it's called. Like this little iron bar. She stands on top of it and starts yelling for you, and like everybody hears her in the crowd, and they're like, "What the fuck is she doing?
Well,
Why is
yeah,
she
it's a
yelling
busy
that?"
intersection.
Yeah,
Like I'm amazed that she had no shame and no fear of like yelling in the middle of a crowd of people at a busy intersection. But that's just who she is.
yeah. And she just and you hears this, and he's like, "What the fuck? I need to rush there and stop her." She's like, "Yeah, I'm right here. Stop yelling." And then she's like, "Oh, okay, cool." Oh, and she trips and falls on top of him again. Yeah,
Sure.
yeah. It's not
Anything
it's not
else?
another upskirt scene, but that's it.
Right. I mean, yeah, but I just saying like there's not a lot.
Yeah, they get a alpaca charm, and you guys to pretend he's his boyfriend.
Right. Okay. So that one's a little different. That one is they're going to the movie theater and they use
Yeah,
the tickets, and then it was like, "Hey, do me a favor. Could you pretend to be my boyfriend?" Why? And then they mention for couples, there's a sweet deal going on. And she's like, "Shut up. Just be cool." And he's like, "Oh, okay." This
yeah.
is weird.
And he's like, "Oh, I can't hold hands correctly." She's like, "Man up and hold it correctly." Jeez. And then she gets
What is
flustered too.
what a conversation. Uh,
Yeah.
hold my hand properly, you fucking wuss. What a what a conversation. But
And
yeah, they go watch the movie and then
um, Fuka actually says, "Oh, this is actually a date. It was a really great date." And he's like, "Wait, I don't think it's a date." No, it was a date. Bye.
It's not even like this was actually a date. It was like they're leaving, and he's like, "All right, cool. I'll see you around." She's like, "Yeah, thanks for the great date." He goes, "Wait, what?" And then she just bolts. They don't even like confirm or discuss it again. She's just like, "Yeah, bye."
Yeah.
Kind of fucking great that he. That it's not even that he got the chance to go like, "Nah, this wasn't a date." No, she just leaves. She just decides in that instance, "Yeah, this was a date. Bye," and she's gone before he can say shit. And he's just sitting there thinking, "Did I just go on a date? I'm not sure.
I think I just went on a date.
I think I went on a date. Yeah." Oh
Uh,
boy.
so I'm actually not gonna like explain the rest of the episodes because it's kind of.
It's
No
pretty.
offense, it's really mundane.
Yeah, I mean, like, but that's the thing. The essence of the show is, did we enjoy it despite how ridiculous and mundane it is? And yeah, actually, I still
Yeah.
like it. I enjoyed it. I like the whole theme of like using the music to represent themselves. And you know what's really funny? They got like real music people to play the songs in the show. Like the guitarist is the guitar parts are played by the guitarist from My First Story. The drum parts are played by the drummer from L Garden. The bass parts are played by the bassist from The Bones. Like actual melodic hardcore and post hardcore and post pop punk bands, particularly The Bones. And I think it's kind of interesting that both L Garden and The Bones are have bands that like mostly sing in English. So I thought it was kind of interesting that. Oh, also some of the scenes that where they showed people playing music, like in the what is it, the fifth episode when they're at the beach? Because they're in the fourth one at the beach, but in the fifth one they actually play a show
Um.
because it's right. Because that's when Fuuka
No,
is
that
have.
was four.
That was still four when like the track guy goes, all right, so we're gonna do the track thing, and she goes, no, I've chosen music now.
Yeah.
That was the fourth episode? Okay, cool. Like I said, like I told him earlier, I didn't take a lot of notes because honestly, that wasn't too much for me to say. But yeah, it's during that scene that they're playing the opening song, Climbers High, and maybe this is just because I'm a huge music nerd and I play guitar and a whole bunch of other things. But like when I was listening to the song and I watched the way they animated the guitarist's hands, he actually strummed and fretted everything properly. And that like really got to me. I was like, yeah, most people don't do that. The drummer parts were also accurate. And I was like, that's cool. Most people don't do that. But considering music is such an integral element of the show, that I kind of hoped they would go the extra mile. And they did. So that's cool.
Yeah. Um. And actually, you're right. It's episode five. I'm sorry.
It was five. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Because I remember four is him learning, I gotta learn how to speak up because no one wants to listen to me. And then he speaks up. And I was like, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
That's what kind of what we mean by like the show is mundane. Like the manga, it's a lot longer and a lot of things are much more drawn out. In the show, they kind of tightened it up, which is pretty normal for a lot of shows. Probably because they knew they were only going to get one season, so they tightened it up as hard as they could, sticking like a whole bunch of different things in one episode. Like I remember the guy who became the drummer, Kazuyo Natsu, like he had a whole arc about like explaining why he wasn't totally into the music thing, why he was so serious about like track, but then how in the end music would be the one thing that fulfilled him, and that's why he came back to the band, and like it's a whole thing. But in the show, he's kind of like, all right, fine,
I'll
I'll
do
be
it.
part of your stupid band. Yeah. After he says, I don't want to be part of your stupid band. I used to play the drums. You're in our band now. Okay, fine. Like that was kind of it. Um,
Yeah, I definitely
but yeah,
prefer the manga than the
yeah,
anime.
I really like the manga. So should we finally start talking about how the anime is super different?
Um. Not yet.
Because I don't feel like there's a lot for me to say about the show.
I mean, do you have any
Oh,
more
hey.
notes? I have like one thing I want to talk about.
Yeah, I kind of want to say one thing. I really like that Makoto's openly gay. That's rare.
Yeah.
Like you can have a lot of implied homosexuality, or like when people just go, "Oh, I'm not into girls," and that's kind of it. But like this dude, he goes like, "Hey, I'm gonna go to try to pick up this hot lifeguard," and I was like, "Yeah, go for it." I'm
Yeah.
happy you're just being honest.
And he always
'Cause,
gives quotes.
yeah,
Like
yeah, he gives a lot of dumb quotes.
like if you don't or people are like do great things when they're put under pressure, something like that.
Yeah.
And you is always like, "Yeah, man, that's Haikai talk. Only Haikai
Yeah,
talk like that."
he straight up says Ikemen, which is like a pretty handsome guy. So he's like every time he says something, it's like, I'm upset that you just agreed with her in your stupid hot guy language. And he goes like, eh. And that's pretty much the entirety of their
I,
interactions.
yeah, it's
I remember
okay.
that when he's first introduced, they gave that thing about where he was like, well, you like he's telling Fuuka, you like Mikasa, right? And he was like, I don't think he's like okay. And then he comes over and goes like, yeah, I'm not into girls. And he was like, huh? Wait, wait. And then he like really thinks about it, and then goes, oh, okay, all right, well, I forget I said anything. Fuck it, it doesn't matter.
It was okay. He's like, yeah, you're right. He's like one of the first few openly gay guys in the show.
Yeah, like you don't really see that in like anime at all. Mostly because people don't write openly gay guys unless the whole gimmick is, hey, we're gay. Like Shonen Ai and Boys Love Manga in general, you know?
Not
Like
free
where
though.
the
Definitely
oh
not
shit.
free.
Not gay. I am so not gay. You shut up. I don't care if this camera's super focusing on our lips about to touch because I need to help him. I'm not gay. Shut up. So what if I'm caressing him gently while he cries? I am not gay. This is not gay. This is guys being dudes. Fucking free. I love it so much. And it just and there's so many other shows that are like, I'm not gay, but we're gonna get pretty gay. Uh
Mm,
Jeez. Yeah, yeah, but
but
yeah, I think it's cool that like he's the first openly gay dude
yeah.
in these like a show.
All right. One other thing I wanted to talk about was what's her name? Sa-
Sada? I
yeah,
really like
Sarah.
Sada.
Yeah.
Sada's the best. Sada's easily my favorite.
So when you first figure out, oh, she's been on my Twitter feed the whole time. It took some like a
Oh,
good 5 minutes.
we forgot to mention, Twitter is all over this show.
Oh yeah.
Twitter is everywhere because use so much of Yu's interaction with people is Twitter, and it's not even like fake Twitter where like they switch a letter. It's just straight up Twitter. They don't even try to hide it.
Or I think I
I kind of
copyrighted, or Twitter didn't care.
I guess Twitter didn't care. I mean, it's a lot of times like Japanese stuff will use American things, and because like American business corporations don't really give a shit about anime, they're like, yeah, all right, whatever. But some of them, like Japanese litigation companies, are like, let's just play it safe. Whack Donalds, and like that's about it.
Or like every JoJo stand.
Oh well, that's why JoJo couldn't get localized the normal way, and they had to change fucking everything. He's not Aerosmith. He's Little Bomber. Shut up. Shut up. We'll talk about JoJo at some other point. There's too much for me to say. Me
Okay,
alone.
you're getting on topic, but yeah,
Yeah, getting
she
out of that.
so yeah, she ends up like taking a picture of ice cream, and he's like, wait, you can't possibly be in front of me. And then she looks at her, and he looks at him, and they just look at each other for a good 2 seconds, like, I know you.
Well, like about that, it's not even that like you couldn't be in front of me, right? It's he looks at the ice cream and goes, "That is exactly the same ice cream that's in front of me." Could those be the same ice cream? I'll just ask. Like it's not even like it took the beat of asking himself the question. That can't. That what if it's just a different ice cream that looks exactly the same somewhere else? I don't know. Let's find out. Like part of him doubted the possibility that it's the girl in front of him.
I don't know how.
I also don't know how because it was instantaneous. It was like actually happening in front of him. He watched her take a picture, heard the upload noises, said, "Oh shit, she's uploading it." Then watched it pop up on her phone, on his phone. Like, what the
I
fuck?
don't.
Where was any kind of ambiguity there?
I,
Whatever.
yeah, but yeah, she
Good
do
job.
like a. She was all cold before, like, I don't really like talking to people. And she just goes complete 360.
I don't even think that she's cold. I think she's like socially retarded. because she mentions when she like gets really excited and is loosened up around him. She goes, I talk that way all the time. It's just that like I don't mean to upset people. I just talk like that, and I don't realize that I'm hurting people. Because like earlier, she makes a comment and goes like, "Oh, that bass part's hard," and most people would take that to say, "Oh, you think I'm not good enough to learn it, or that it's that like I'm gonna suck at it." Versus what she says when she brings that up, like, "Yeah, and when I said the bass part was hard, what I meant was." I'm worried you're gonna have difficulty with it, and I would like to help you. I know it didn't come out that way. Like I think she's actually just socially retarded, and it's
Yeah,
because she's actually known him for years that she can open up and be, more bubbly as the way she normally actually is.
through Twitter. But yeah,
Yeah, through Twitter. But I mean, like, hey, we know people like that.
yep,
We actually know people like that who are like one way online, and when you talk to them in person, they're not that kind of uncomfortably annoying.
yeah.
Yeah. So there.
But that was pretty cool. I like
Yeah,
her.
if anything, I like her the best because she has like the most dedication to the craft, and then as the narrative in the manga goes on, like she ends up having a crush on you. Which, hey, so do you want to do the big thing yet, or like, do you want to say it, or should I?
Um, you can say it.
Okay, fucking in the show, Fuka gets hit by a truck, but she's fine. Okay, whatever. In the manga, she fucking eats it.
She
She
did.
dies hardcore. She dies in like fucking chapter 130 something, and that's it. She's fucking gone. Fuka Akatsuki's done. Get the fuck out. She's dead. Instead, you know what happens? He meets another girl also named Fuka Aoi, and she just kind of fills in. And that's pretty much it. And as a matter of fact, when he meets her, he's like, "Holy shit! I thought she died." It's like, no, it's a completely different girl who also looks the same. Also loves that band, the Hedgehogs, that you grew up listening to, and also plays the guitar, and also sings. And guess what? Her dad was the guy who drove the truck that killed Fuka Akitsuki. Oh no!
Holy
Like
shit.
fucking,
The
holy shit!
manga's so good.
Manga
Just right.
goes so out. Like, it was wild, man. Holy shit! And then like after Akitsuki dies and he starts to like learn to get himself back together to form the band, like the band sort of splits for a minute because
Mhm.
Fuka was the thing holding them together and she's dead now. Holy shit. But Yu eventually pulls them back together himself, proving that he really does love music and that he wants to honor Fuka Akitsuki's memory by continuing music. And everyone has their own little arcs where they develop their relationship with music and their relationship with him, and they get better, and all types of shit. It's kind of interesting, but like, and I really do like where the manga goes. And then Fuka Aoi comes in, and he has a thing for like he had a thing for Koyuki, and in the anime, she does end up retiring. Like Koyuki ends up retiring because she stops being able to sing after she tells everyone on national television how she feels about him.
Yeah.
But
So
in the
weird.
anime manga, they make a point to where she ends up wearing like a rabbit mask and joins a punk band called Rabbits, and then like starts wearing a rabbit mask, which they make an allusion to it in the anime by having her take off a rabbit mask and just like sit down and like wipe off the sweat in the show. But like in the manga, it becomes a whole thing because Rabbits has like a whole thing with Fallen Moon, then later called Blue Wells after Fuka fucking dies in
Yeah, Fallen
Blue, because
Moon. Yeah.
Aoi Akitsuki is like her last name has to do with the moon and shit, and then they rename it Blue Wells because Fuka Aoi means blue. So yeah, yeah. Anyway, this is a whole bunch of shit that happens. Oh boy, there's a lot going on. Like you get to find out about Makoto Mikasa's thing with his dad and his whole piano competition past. Like there's so much shit in the manga, which is the nature of Koji Sale's writing. Like that guy doesn't fucking write very very straightforward things. Kimi no Yudomachi has like the guy hopping from girl to girl, which is kind of why I didn't like it so much because it was less that like the girls were gone and he had no chance, and it was more like, well, the girl left. Hey, you look cool. Let's go. And that's kind of how he just kept hopping from girl to girl. And at one point, he like dates his ex girlfriend's sister, and it gets all kinds of like it's a mess. That's a mess. But yeah, Koji Sale, he does not write straightforward. So like, knowing Fuuka the manga and then watching the show, like I didn't have a lot to say about the show, whereas in the manga, if we had like talked about the whole thing, holy shit, was there a lot to go through, you
It
know?
would be a little too much. Yeah.
That'd be a little too much. It's feel like a 5 hour episode of
The
us
manga's
yelling at each
like
other and be like, dude, yeah, but like, dude, it'd be like that for 6 hours. And I don't know if you guys would have put up with that.
it would be like the manga's like 300 chapters, 400
Yeah,
chapters.
it's a little over.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
But
Yeah, as far as the show's concerned, not too much happens, I guess.
there was a little tension when Fuka met Koyuki the first
Yeah,
time
yeah,
at the
yeah.
concert.
Oh,
But
I was gonna say more about the raining thing where like they're at the beach and it's raining and then her
yeah.
umbrella flies away and then he's kind of holding her under his umbrella. Like and then Fuga just gets really really awkward around him. Versus I remember in the manga it was less that she was like, "Yeah, all right, fuck you," and it's more like, "Okay, things are cool." And he goes, "You don't have to put up a face like that. It's fine." She goes like, "No, no, 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 no. Everything's awesome. What are you talking about?" Like she's trying to keep face to make him feel better. But like in the show, it's more like a straightforward fucking like tsundere thing. And I was like, "Oh, that's different than I remember." I could be wrong. I haven't read the manga in ages, like I said. So,
Mm.
you know.
I think it was. Yeah, you're right. It's a little bit different.
Yeah. That's what I mean, but like I remember her being really different in the manga, where like in the manga she was very like up and flighty and like straightforward, like the way the movies paint chicks like a magical manic pixie dream girl, you know? Not the kind of girl who's like all about whimsy and fun and she's ready to get you together because you're a sad guy. Like she was more like that in the manga, and in the show it was more like just regular tsundere, and I was like, huh, that feels different. Because
Yeah.
I remember that's sort of what got him so into Fuga Akitsuki. I have to say Akitsuki now that we all know about Aoi. But yeah, he's more into Akitsuki because she like, even though she has never had any real experience with a guitar or any of that shit, she's still willing to throw herself into this thing, and because she just has faith in his belief in her, even though he just kind of said it as an aside. And it's like it's more about that, and that's why when she dies, like his entire world falls apart, and he has to like figure out how to make himself run versus having to rely on her to keep him happy and cheer him up when things aren't going well.
Holy shit. Yeah, that's so much. Like,
That's what I mean by like, oh, it's so different because like here, like it's more focused on Koyuki, and like Fuka's still there, but she's not as present. She's more like a regular tsundere, even though he does admit that he loves her, and like, it's I don't know. It just feels really different, and you got to give it to like that the fact that it's a completely different writer interpreting it. Like they didn't ask Sale for shit. It was Akashiro Aoi. He's the one who worked on most of it. So like
uh,
it's mostly like a rewrite. And I'll admit, for like a 12 episode show, it's really tight. It's really good.
yeah, it's still pretty
It's
good.
a bit mundane, but that's just more the nature of sales writing of like day to day people living their lives, you know, and all the elements come from the relationships rather than actually anything happening. Every once in a while, a big crazy thing happens, like fucking Akitsuki getting killed by a truck, or in Kimi no Irumachi. I'll say this, spoilers for Kimi no Irumachi, but like the main guy is in love with a girl, she runs away, hooks up with another guy, and he goes, "Well, I'll never love her again." And then that guy dies of cancer. What the fuck? And then he
Holy
hooks up with her again and goes like, "I know he's dead, but like I think he would have wanted you to be happy, and I've always loved you." And she's like, "I love you too." It's like that, but it's like that man died of cancer. I just watched the guy die of cancer. It's fucking like wow, like it pops you, you know. The same way Akitsuki getting hit by a car just pops you.
a truck. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Truck, big old truck. Well, I mean, and then his dad being the guy who drove the truck is like, oh, jeez.
But yeah. Okay, I guess we should start wrapping it up. Unless you want to say
Yeah,
who's like your favorite girl, but you already said it's
I Sara. Like, I'm not
yeah.
even gonna pretend. There's no hidden parts here. Sara, above and beyond. Because, and I think that part of it has to do with the fact that she's voiced by Mikako Komatsu, and I really, really like Sugumi and Totsuka.
Yeah,
That that,
maybe.
that
And
might
you
have
also like
something
her
to do with.
character.
Yeah, I do like Sara a lot. I think she's fun. I think that when she tries to deal with her feelings for you after Akitsuki dies, it's like a real interesting step for her. But yeah, I mean, there's not much else for me to really say. Is there anything else you want to say?
Fuuka's okay. Like
I'm sorry.
Akatsuki,
Oh, you mean
Akitsu.
Akitsuki?
Yeah,
You did it right the first time, and that's more than I expected. So hey, props to you, my friend. Props to
let's
you.
go. All right,
Let's go. But yeah, all right. Now here comes the challenge. Food.
I got one. I think you're gonna
Okay,
like it.
go for it. Lay it on me.
Sour Patch Kids.
Sour Patch Kids. Explain.
First Akatsuki sour.
Fuck you. Really?
Yeah,
Really? Is that how we do it?
like when she thought yeah
He was
he's
gonna
a
take pictures
pervert.
under his skirt.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're a fucking pervert. Fuck you.
and then she
But
was
then
really
she,
sweet.
stupid. Fuck you.
It's pretty
That's really
good.
good.
So yeah, she helps him with the relationship and like finding out what he wants to do in life, and she
Uh,
also helps him. I mean, he also helps her,
Sour Patch Kids.
and then she's gone.
Seriously, yeah, no, fuck it. You win. There's nothing I can say that would make that any better. She's sour. She's gone. Fuck it. Fuuka in a nutshell. Oh my God, it's so. Oh, good damn, Isaiah. You came to the plate with a home run. Just fuck. You pointed to the stands, and I'll admit I wasn't sure, but then you knocked it the fuck out the park. It's in space now. That was a real victory.
Thank you, thank you.
Oh shit.
Manga chef,
She's
Isaiah.
sour. Then she's sweet. Then she's
She's fucking
gone.
gone.
Truck gone. Oh, and then
Mind
you
you,
get a
that's the
dip.
manga, not the anime. But I like the
Yeah,
manga better. I
but
feel like that's more real.
that's solid. That's pretty much it. And the show, she like leaves for a solo career, so technically she's gone, even though it's not the gone that we wanted it to be.
No, I want the hard gone.
Dude, could you have imagined if like the season ended with Fuka dying? like 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 he goes like, "Where's Fuka?" And it's like, "Oh, she got hit by a truck." Oh no! And it's like, "How's she going to?" She's already passed. And then fucking Watashi no Seka by Megumi Nagashima comes in. And it's like, yeah, no, that's it. We're done. Bye bye. Bye bye. Bye bye. Actually, you know what? I guess there's one more thing for me to say beyond that fucking stellar home run you gave me. Um, so the Hedgehogs, like the band that he grew up listening to, that he was super obsessed with, they do show up, like both in the show and in the manga. And the reason I only want to bring up the part about the show, because in the manga they do play like an element at making him get his shit together. And, like there's a whole little competitive drive because yeah, it's a whole thing. The reason I want to bring it up in the show is because fucking Yoko Hikasa and Daisuke Ono are voice two of the members, and Yoko Hikasa has been around for too many things for too long, like she was in K-On!, she was in Asura Crying, she was in Umineko, she was in Ghost Hound.
She's the
She,
advisor, right?
yeah, she was their
Yes.
teacher.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was on Dog Days, all of the fucking versions of Dog Days, which is like five of them. She was in Korega Zombie Desu. Like that lady works. That lady works, and I fucking love that. And that's why like I heard her voice. I was like, "What are you doing here for this bit part? Come on, you destroy shows. Why you here for a bit part? They don't deserve you. They don't deserve you. She's a nice lady." That and fucking Daisuke Ono. Where Daisuke Ono, also a man who's been around. Like that
I
dude's been
think
working since like '02.
I think
I've
most
mentioned
people
him
know
before.
Daisuke.
I feel like yeah. I feel like everyone should know that name for some reason. Like there's something you watched where he was there, because that motherfucker's everywhere. And I always remember him the best for being the teacher at Minami-ke, and also being the lead from Kuroshitsuji. Like the titular Black Butler, because man, that motherfucker, he has a man voice. Like you can't. There's no way he can really soften that up. Like the guy who co-stars with him most of the time, Jun Fukuyama, that guy can do a really effeminate voice. Like he was in He was in Nyankoi as the one of the best friends. And like Daisuke Ono was on Osamatsu-san and so many other fucking shows. He's Jotaro. Since we were talking about JoJo, he's Jotaro. This is beautiful, a beautiful, beautiful man. So the fact that they were there for like a bit part, I was like, why, why, what possessed you to go like, you know what, I could sit in on this one. I don't mind. And Daisuke Hitakawa was Sada's older brother. I think I know him more than other people really care.
You think the anime just wanted like other people to get a chance? I guess.
I know, well, that's what I mean. But like the fact that they were doing the side parts is like, why not give it to some random guy who doesn't get a lot of work? Why'd you spend the big money on on the guys? Like you would think if you're gonna go with like, oh, just about anybody, like anybody can fill in those roles. Like how many shows have we watched where we're like, oh damn, I like this show, but I have never heard this woman ever in my life.
Maybe the singing.
No, no, like
No.
because all those were like the drummer, like in shit. Like Daisuke was the drummer, and Daisuke Ono was the drummer. Daisuke Hitakawa was the guitarist. Yoki Hikasa was the piano player. Like
I
none of
know,
them
but
were.
I mean for the main roles because they have to sing. Maybe
Yeah,
that's why.
yeah. Well, like Lin actually sings and Sayori Hayami sings. I know, but that's what I mean by like, why would you shell out the big money for side parts? That's like
I don't
going,
know.
hey, Stephen Colbert, here's $30 million. Say hello to this guy as if he was your neighbor. Okay, goodbye. Like, why? 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 Because I can't imagine that they make too little. They've been in the industry for far too long. Like,
Mm,
Daisuke Hitakawa is on Berserk and shit. Like, he's on Aji and JoJo. You know what? Daisuke Hitakawa, he's Kakyoin.
got me. Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, Lita, Lita, Lita. Yeah.
Yeah. I like that that's how you remembered it. You didn't remember Emerald Splash. You remembered
That's
him as
the first thing that comes to mind. All right. And I remember everything else about him, but yeah, it's just.
Yeah, no, I just like that the first thing you said was, "Oh yeah." All right, yeah, I don't think there's fucking anything else for us to say.
All right.
Besides, alrighty. So, Sour Patch Kids.
Yep.
Fuuka gets a rank of Sour Patch Kids. Sour, sweet,
Gone.
gone. Go. All right, bye everybody. We'll see you next week with whatever stupid shit we come up with.